Dr. Gary Banks, leadership coach and the leader and principal of the upcoming and forthcoming Bold Achievement Leadership Coaching Group or organization. I don't know. Is it a group or an organization?
I don't call it group. No, it's just Bold Achievement Leadership Coaching.
Bold Achievement Leadership Coaching. I'm excited because you're sharing with me, and I can't wait for others to hear about SCARF, which is a leadership and a communication model. And if there's anything that we need now more than ever, it's ways to communicate more effectively. Tell me about SCARF.
Well, SCARF is a model that David Rock is implementing. And what it does is it helps leaders to be able to identify what motivates the people they lead. It's very helpful, but it's also dangerous if you don't use it in the proper ways. So let me break down the 5 pillars of the SCARF model. It's an acronym. So S stands for status, C is for certainty, A is autonomy, R is relatedness, and F is fairness. Now, just knowing those terms may give you an idea of where it's going, but then how to use it is much more important.
So tell me about the first one, status.
Okay, status. It's very important for a person to know where they stand in any emotional unit. My best examples to help people, I'm a sports guy, so I use football. I use a good basketball one too, but let's start with football here. Everybody knows that the quarterback is the most integral person on the offense. Okay. So his status is clear. Then they have these other positions that are called skilled positions. Now, on any team, within the skilled positions, who knows who's the most important or makes the largest contribution? On some teams, it's the running back. On some teams, it's one of the wide receivers. On some teams, it's at the tight end. If the team doesn't know, if the individual player doesn't know what their status is, where he falls in the pecking order, they're always fighting for where do I stand? Mm-hmm. So that's where the SCARF model comes in.
Why is it important that status be clearly identified for a person, and how does that help leadership teams?
It's a motivational factor. People work for money and they work for status. Some argue that status is more important than money in some cases. Mm-hmm. And then in other times, people work for money and they don't care about status because they're making so much money. So a leader has to be able to identify how a person is motivated based on their status.
And in your example with football, you mentioned the skill receivers and other things like that. We know that in football, there's also the really big humans there, the offensive linemen and whatnot. How would someone who is perhaps not in a skill position, and there perhaps could be an argument made that, those offensive players that might not necessarily catch the ball, but protect the high status person of the wide receiver, how do you value them in an organization or give them status, even though they're not one of the flashy positions that carries the ball?
Well, it's up to those who have the so-called higher status. You often hear on the news that a certain quarterback just bought his whole offensive lineman something fancy. I think it was Jalen Hurts who bought.
I've heard of Rolexes. I've heard of vehicles and trucks from some. I've heard all different various fairly elaborate gifts for the offensive linemen.
Yeah, golf carts. That's what Jalen Hurts did. He bought everybody golf cart, personalized golf carts. Some people do Rolex, like you're saying, tennis shoes. It could go the gamut.
Yeah.
Or they'll take them on a trip.
So there's a way and a way to appreciate those that are still very integral to the team that might not necessarily be as celebrated, but them knowing what their status is as valuable, there's different ways for them to understand that.
Absolutely. And excuse me for referencing the Philadelphia Eagles. That's my team. So you're going to hear a lot of references.
You don't want to alienate the Detroit Lion fans and the Buccaneers fans or even 49er fans like myself, but that's all right. We understand. We follow the analogy.
I appreciate it. So Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley were invited to, I believe it was the Tonight Show, maybe with Jimmy Fallon. Barkley said, well, if we're going to go, the offensive line has to go. I'm not going if they don't go. So that was a way to appreciate what the lineman had done for his success, because having a breakout year that he had last season would not have been possible without his linemen. And so leaders have to understand that you have to show appreciation to the back of house people, so to speak.
That's powerful. I love that. So what's C stand for? We have status. What's C in SCARF?
Certainty. Everyone needs the ability to predict the future in their domain. So like, I know if you're on a job where you go in and you know that everybody's going to be there, you expect certain things to happen every day, but then once one thing is out of whack, now you have to adjust, and the certainty of how it's going, the outcome is in question. For instance, let's say you come into work one day and the boss has an announcement, or there's an email, or however it's communicated, we're about to have some layoffs. Certainty is out the window. And so that creates anxiety. So in order to motivate people, they have to have a certain amount of certainty. And if there's and this can be manipulated, people can create this uncertainty so in order to get people to do what they want. That's a negative. I can't stand when people do that. Ooh, you want to get me? But the transparent leader who motivates properly wants to be able to get his people to have a certain amount of certainty.
Does certainty also mean that the leader removes anxiety by just clear communication, even if it's bad news?
Absolutely. That's when the value really hits high level. Listen, this is what's happening, and it's something we couldn't control, but this is what we're doing about it. That creates a calm. That helps people to understand maybe it's uncertain about the future, but we certainly know that there is a plan.
I like that, and I can appreciate that. It creates a measure of safety. It sounds like you're sharing that people can become safe when they are certain about what's happening, when they're certain that things are going well, that bonuses are coming, or when there's a certain amount of clarity and honesty and transparency where it says, hey, we're heading into an uncertain season. We don't quite know how it's going to go, but we want to make sure that we communicate that clearly.
Absolutely.
So status, certainty, and then we get to the middle of it. A.
Autonomy. Nobody wants to be micromanaged. If you have the ability to do your job and to make decisions about your job, then you have autonomy. You take that away, people lose motivation. Being micromanaged is like the worst thing on a job. Nobody wants that.
Micromanagement is something that's interesting and intriguing, because there's some people that maybe a leader feels like, I need to motivate this person, and the way that I motivate them is by perhaps micromanaging them or letting them know all the time where they are, what's happening. Is there an in-between ground between understanding as a leader, these persons need to be met with twice as often as others? And maybe give me an example from your perspective about those that are able to operate in an autonomous way very well and effectively without bringing harm to an organization. Like, I can just kind of leave this person. They know what they're doing. They know how to handle it. These other ones, maybe they're new or they need a different type of motivation, so I have to push them a bit differently. Is there a healthy way to do that within the SCARF model?
Well, what that brings to my attention is it goes back to your status. You have a certain amount of autonomy because of the status you've earned. And everybody understands, if everybody knows their status, then things are much more clear, and it's easier to be motivated by that.
I can appreciate that. Status, certainty, autonomy. What does the R stand for?
Relatedness. It's a sense of safety with others. Like, you know who you can trust, and otherwise. You understand? So nobody wants to be in an emotional unit where they're always having to watch their back. But if you know you got people who have your back, then it's much easier to be motivated to do your job.
It sounds like it pulls some concepts from Stephen Covey's book, The Speed of Trust.
Yes.
Where he talks about how high trust environments and work environments, you're able to do so much more and move faster. But if you don't quite know that certainty, if you don't have the autonomy, if you don't have the certainty, if you don't know what your status is, there's a high level of mistrust, and that creates a imbalanced organization. Is that part of what relatedness is talking to and speaking to?
It's all interrelated. If you know your status and you know who your people are, then you can be motivated much easier than otherwise.
How would a leader kind of build stronger relatedness among his or her team?
Transparency is one of the top characteristics of this. If your people know that you have their best interest, not only your own interest, motivation is much easier. So the transparency helps. Communication is key, and status, knowing where everybody stands.
Status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and then the final part of this this SCARF model, or the pillars of SCARF. What is the F?
Fairness. So just because you have a higher status doesn't mean that everybody's still not treated the same. There's a certain fairness that goes along regardless of what your status is. And so people with so-called lower status or perceived lower status feel empowered when they realize that they've been treated fairly, even though their so-called status isn't high visibility.
So it's an organization-wide model of saying, hey, no matter who you are, no matter where you started in this company, if you're a part of it, if you're part of this organization, we're going to treat you fairly.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And I can remember as a child, one of the things that always would come out when the teacher said, oh, well, we're not going to have recess because Malik didn't do what he was supposed to do. Oh, man, that's not fair. You know, kids always say, oh, that's not fair. You know, so we don't change that much when we become adults. We're still thinking about fairness. Fairness is very high as a part of our values. So SCARF, status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. And going back to a little bit on relatedness, people want to know they belong. You know, for instance, I just came to California and, you know, working in this new environment and the people I work with, one of the first questions is, wow, do I belong here? And people like you and others have made me feel very comfortable here. So I have relatedness here. And, you know, that lowers any anxiety I may have being in this environment.
It seems powerful for any organization as they implement or consider as a leader implementing these SCARF pillars. What can a person reasonably expect if they have these 5 strong pillars as a part of their organization? What happens as a result of these functioning in the way that they should?
Well, the team works like a well-oiled machine. Now, I can't say that just because you used SCARF properly, because the SCARF is just one tool. There are other things that we'll talk about in other episodes, but having this helps build a foundation on having a well-functioning team.
Dr. Banks, thanks so much. Once again, the Bold Achievement Leadership Coaching. I look forward to future episodes and future insights on how to become a more effective and efficient leader. I appreciate learning about this.
I thank you. So if I could just invite our listeners to make a comment, like and subscribe on our channel, Leading the Calm, for this podcast. Also, I also would like to invite people to maybe write out a case study for us. If you're going through a situation on your job, in your church, on your team, whatever it may be, if you could write the issue out and then send it to me, we could analyze it for you and system map it for you and kind of have a discussion over that and help you through that.
they would do that in the comments and share that below as clearly as possible. It would be exciting to get your perspective on some of the challenges that people are having, because all around, I think that the SCARF method really could really help some teams and help some individuals navigate some challenges and troubles within their organization.
Excellent. Yeah. So just make a comment, slide into my DM. Is that appropriate? I don't even know. I don't know how that works.
Well, before we close out this episode, is there anything that you would like to add, or anything that might have been missed that pertains to SCARF or pertains to coaching and leadership in general that relates to this?
Listen, I'm very excited to help anyone improve in their context. And if you feel as if there is another step you need to make, I can talk you through it. You can bounce your concepts, your ideas off of me, and we can guide you through it.
Thanks, Dr. Banks.